What makes a great all-round documentary zoom lens? Let's find out if Zeiss has the answer. So this has been quite an issue for me for quite some time. I'm in the documentary game, so most of my productions are documentary productions, and therefore I need my camera to be small enough to be able to work all day with it. This is all to do because of the fact that basically in a lot of these stories I just can't take 4 or 5 or 6 people with me as crew. So therefore I'm shooting on a RED Helium, and for most of my productions I've been using a 24-70 Canon L zoom lens, which is basically a stills lens. One of the great things about this lens for me is that it's quite small. It does its job pretty decently. It's not perfect. I know that there's a lot better class out there, but it has these strong points of being small, it has a decent range, and it's a 2.8, so in terms of aperture, I'm quite okay with that. The only thing is that it's a stills lens. There's like on the focusing side, it can be quite hard because of the throw. So I'm always on the lookout and see if there's something out there that I would like better. And on that premise, I kind of got in touch with Zeiss and asked them if I could borrow a lightweight zoom of them and try that one out and see how that would fit my documentary workflow. The name might suggest that it's as small as, for example, this Canon I'm shooting on, but actually the lightweight zoom is a lot bigger than you might expect if you're not used to cine zooms. But there's a good reason why Zeiss called this a lightweight zoom, and that's because of the fact that for the range it has, a 21mm to 100mm, it's actually pretty small for what it delivers. And it has a t-stop of 2.9 to 3.9, so it has this, they call it t-stop ramping, which means the aperture closes the more you get zoomed in. It has a focus throw of 300 degrees, which is great if you want to have very precise focusing. And all in all, this seems like it might be a contender for me in the type of work I normally do. So basically I needed a project to test this on, and I wanted a project where I could basically go ahead and do whatever I wanted. So I got in touch with a bass guitar builder, and we got over to him, and in a few hours time we basically shot a very short documentary on him. And during this shoot we shot handheld. We tried to put the camera on a slider, and we did some tripod shots. I tried to get as much different shots in as possible to just see and feel how the lens responded to how I work. To me, the look of the lens is actually a bit of a surprise. It's a $10,000 list price lens, I think. And I know what Zeiss can do, and it still has all the nice qualities of a Zeiss lens, which is contrasty, and it's a very sharp lens as well. It's like there's no faulting Zeiss in its sharpness. On the wide end, because we're shooting on a Helium, which is actually a bit bigger, the sensor is a bit bigger than S35. It had some vignetting, but if I would scale back to 7K or 6K, I would be completely fine. Now I couldn't see any breathing during shooting, which is a pretty amazing thing considering the lens price point. The lens is a very soft bokeh because of its 11 blade aperture. Now with the lightweight zoom, while it's lightweight for what it does, in this particular setup with the Helium, which is a heavy camera, it actually gets a lot bulkier than what I was used to. Now the thing we did struggle with, which is it depends on where you are with this, but if you work alone and you need to focus all day, then actually I thought it was actually quite difficult because the Zeiss is so precise that a little bit of change in focus is almost undetectable if you're just looking through your eyepiece or on a monitor, on a small monitor. So this is something to take into account. I thought it was actually, sometimes it was actually easier focusing with the stills lens just because you can be very quick in going off and in focus. So this isn't really something that's bad about the lens. The lens is very technical and good, but in some situations, whenever you go run and gun, it might be something to consider. So all in all, I think that Zeiss has found a really interesting point in the market where you can have a cine zoom on the one hand, still have enough practicality in there and lightweightness to make sure that you could handle it on your own. I think that for its price and its usability, it's really something you should consider if you work on documentary type projects. So please let me know your experiences with this lens and what you thought about it. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and hope to see you next time.